Welcome back to the monthly Cardinal Financial webinar. Me and Frank have great guests here today from South Carolina that have been with us for a few years now. And Phil and his son PJ, one of our top ranchers, top producer, top everything. You guys are growing at crazy rates. And welcome onto the webinar.
Appreciate you having
guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You guys have exploded since over the last real 2 years. And you had a significant business when you came over, but it's continued to grow. And now it's still growing in a market where most people are down 20, 30%. You're growing 20, 30%. Can you guys just speak to a little bit about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and where it's coming from?
Yeah, I would say, Ralph, the first thing is that when everybody was doing a lot of refinances, we did some too, we stayed diligent. It's not going to get built overnight. We stayed on it. We stayed consistent. We stayed in with our partners. Regardless, we could have spent a little bit more time, catching things that might have been a little bit easier that didn't take as much legwork. But now we have those relationships built. And I think the reason that we're seeing an increase is because the market's compressed a little bit more. That means our turn times are faster. That means our service providers, we don't have to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get an appraisal, 3 weeks to get title. So now those relationships, just like stocks, are worth a lot more. We're just seeing it grow.
You guys put money in the bank and put the hard work in, the elbow grease when everybody else is grabbing the low-hanging fruit. Now, I will say, and there was so many calls and emails to say, like, dude, you're leaving money on the table. A refinance is not a negative thing. Let's jump in. Phil, amongst many other producers, was 100% purchase mindset, rock and roll. And I think the addition of PJ and some other staff and maybe a little poking and prodding from me got you to balance out with some refi business. And now you have a really healthy business model with a hyper focus on purchase, and not only relationship purchase, but some real big builder relationships that you're able to utilize the credit box and the policies and mortgage IQ of Cardinal and the division to make some deals work that were otherwise turned down elsewhere, even in-house lenders for some of these large builders.
Yes.
Now, PJ, you've been in the business how long now?
2 years.
Okay. And in those 2 years, you've seen a lot, right? You've seen COVID, seen, 1% interest rates. Now we're trending back toward, 4% interest rates. What would you say is the most consistent thing that you guys do at the branch level that keeps your head on straight, whether deals are falling out of the sky or whether you got to go out there and grind them?
Yeah, so 2 years on the calendar, but probably 5 years and hours in the office. Time we spent. And I would say biggest thing we've done, and also it's the same answer to the previous question about what was it like coming on with Cardinal and expanding, is just maintaining the reputation. So the greatest thing, and kudos to Dad, greatest thing Phil's done is maintained a flawless reputation on getting deals to the closing table for years. Partnering with Cardinal allowed us to create some infrastructure and framework to scale and expand upon that, do it faster, do it smoother, do it cleaner. And I say just being conscious of that is what we do consistently. When a deal comes in, make sure you can deliver, because you can go out and canvas and get 20 agents to call you. But if you only call back 1 out of 19, well, then it's going to take another 2 years to get them to call you back again. So just make sure you deliver on everything that comes to the table.
You're just another guy at that point, another guy that tells them yes and tries to figure it out and scramble behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I think some of what you said too is what we've covered with other people within this group, is that Phil's allowed to do what his highest and best use is every single day is now, which is make relationships and bring people in and then stand behind his word. So, just as far as that goes, Phil, it's been easier for you to do that, right? Like just do more of what you're good at every single day and what drives the business.
Yeah. And what we're looking for too is I think like a mistake sometimes, like I think people at all levels, if they're new, they're thinking we got this, we don't need to dig in, or if they're experienced, they just stop putting in the work and they think they have it figured out. Either one is very dangerous. One guy doesn't know what he doesn't know, guy or girl, going to walk right into a brick wall. The other guy thinks he knows. That's probably worse.
Yeah.
So we like to model, first thing is action, being busy, not sitting there staring and talking about what we're going to do, but like pattern after, like Cardinal does Octane. It doesn't stop running when they're working on an update. When it's updated, they post it to the hub, but it's still working. It's still going through the everyday process and then looking in the back of your mind, hey, could I have done that better? Being honest with yourself, and what did I really do today? What did I really do that's bringing in revenue and action? And I think if everybody just took that a little bit deeper, and be honest, you're the one grading yourself and coaching yourself as an individual. Sure, managers can say, let's go. But what actually was done in that first 4 hours, 8 to noon? What got done? And if nothing got done, then the second half better be big. From 12:30 to question mark, better be productive, but be looking for ways to improve, but keep the action and activity level up.
Yeah.
And that's what I love, whether you're in the business, 2 years, 20 years, like these guys, because although, is last year was, I think, number 2 producer. This year, he's number 1 producer. And I know he won't stop even when he is number 1. He still listens, right? And I don't have all the answers, and Ralph doesn't have all the answers, but Phil knows enough to know that neither does he, right? So we are constantly improving each other's business, and everybody is receptive to that, which again is not usual in this business or in any sales environment. Usually, egos start to outpace business models, and we don't have that here, and that's why we're able to continue the growth. Phil has successfully not only produced but been able to, build real support staff, a real branch that is, standalone. And just like we've said on other calls, these guys don't have to be here. They want to be here, right? And that's a good feeling all the way down to the newest person and all the way on up to Ralph and I, because it means that you're here for the right reasons. You feel good about coming in every day. You're not, complaining at lunchtime over a drink with your buddy about how miserable you are. You're actually out there and making it happen. And I think, a testament to it is bringing PJ into the business. We've talked about this, and for you to bring your own flesh and blood into this business, it speaks to what you feel is the ultimate end goal and what you can achieve here. And I think, PJ, looking at what your dad does, of course, if he came home every night miserable and kicked the dog and slammed the door and at everybody, I don't think you'd want to be doing that job. So, maybe, and I know that's even expanded further, right? Like, so PJ has some of his friends that are now coming in, and you're changing their lives as well. So maybe that's something that you guys could, talk a little bit more about. Not everybody knows what you've built with your staff there. So, be proud of it, man.
I appreciate that. PJ, I'll touch on that, but just for a minute, coming out of college, we have Tyler and Lenny. Tyler went to school with, they graduated together. So out of your class, PJ, so you're coming out, it's COVID. He didn't really know the difference between a COVID overlay or not. Because
I just know it's 10 extra minutes on the phone with Uncle Paulie. That's all.
Yeah, that's just how it always was. But just the environment and landscape of coming out of college, figuring out what you wanted to do. You were working halfway through your senior year, or your whole senior year, really.
Yeah. So the quick recap was, I got a little bit of exposure to the mortgage business 3 years ago, and Dad was with a smaller correspondent lender. He was always successful and always a high producer. The opportunity with Cardinal came on. He was teeing up a move to get with a big company who really had the infrastructure that he could take advantage of relationships he's been building 10 years plus, early mornings and late nights. And for my situation, I was working for a commercial real estate company, but I was waiting tables on the weekends for extra cash. So I said, hey, can I do any marketing at your branch? And he said, I'm actually about to transition to a bigger company. So there's an opportunity for a full-time role. So when we came on, there was 3 employees. In our first month, we closed 12 loans, 3 employees, 12 loans. We truthfully doubled in every aspect of the branch consistently in under 2 years. To June of 2021 through December, we closed 40 loans and over 10 million consistently 6 months in a row. We doubled staff with a couple hire and fires. But on our current staff, I have a college classmate, a friend of a college classmate, the best man in my wedding, a referral from our aunt. I mean, we've built a real culture where everybody wants to improve, everybody wants to get better, everybody wants to take our lead and figure out how they can make this the best branch possible.
And if you didn't have that culture, you would not be introducing your friends and family into, a stagnant or even worse, a degenerative position where, like I said, it was miserable. So all of these guys and girls that you're naming, And I know them personally. We've worked together now for a couple of years, and we've also have come down to visit the branch. Everybody is growing and learning every single day, and it's because you guys utilize the tools. You guys mentioned Uncle Paulie. Paul Levine is the guy that literally trained me in the business. So I won't age him, but that could tell you. And he's still out there every single day with these guys and others. Whether it's Phil, who's seasoned and experienced, bringing in deals that are just hairy, or whether it's PJ learning how to spell FHA. You guys use them, and not everyone does. So how important has the division support? And we can go through the list of names, but that divisional support, because Phil is not a guy that's going to walk into a corporate company and feel comfortable, just going to corporate and sending a ticket in. So how has that helped you guys scale and grow?
So I would say, coming from much smaller companies prior, and honestly, Frankie, and I'm not saying this because you're on the line, but I told you before when we first talked, I knew that you got it. That to me, you could have said 900 basis points. And let me tell you something. Beep it out, Ralph, on the interview. That doesn't mean shit. It doesn't, because guess what? If the deal doesn't close, it's 0 basis points. How about that?
That's right.
And if you blow a relationship, it's negative 250 because you're gone now. So it's being able to see through all that, because it's hunting season, it's pitch season, it's sign-on bonus jumping season. But let me tell you something. You can only do that so many times. Number one, you're going to lose market share. You're probably going to maybe even lose a little bit of respect in some cases if you're constantly doing that, because it's still grass. It just looks green from further away. It's still grass. And when you climb the fence, you're going to be like, damn, did anybody put the cows in, or did they just stay in the grass? Just look greener. So knowing the difference, and that's where experience comes in, because I showed PJ the LinkedIn login on the side, the panel, the constant pings. I'm like, I ignore all that because that doesn't matter. Your team matters. What we've seen, and so like the way that I early on knew how we wanted to build it and how we want to scale it is do it right every time, put pride in our work. We work very hard and everybody's accountable, but it starts with me and everybody on the team. If they miss something, they know, because we take pride in what we do. But that requires certain skill level positions, not relying on corporate for everything. And you take that same, we're a small version of what you built, because you said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not building like that. They don't all have a Meg and a Johnny D and a De Niro and a Bronstein and a Paulie. How am I doing, Frankie?
You're doing good, baby. Keep it going. Mary and Gene.
Yeah, Mary and the marketing, all those tools.
What else you got, Dad? Come on.
is really what I saw as the difference. But Frankie, you leading it, because I said, you know what? If I get in a sticky situation, that's the guy I want with me. And if we both lose, then we know we left it on the field. And sometimes it is a loss. They're rare. Probably count maybe on one hand things we took all the way as far as we could, and then realized, all right, let's not make a career on this one scenario. But we got a lot of wins that we weren't sure we were going to get. And that's teamwork. And that's, it's just about, realizing what we have. And especially now, this is when you got to get serious. And like the old company I was with, all I could do was a fallout deal. The rates were so high, the costs were so high. And for me to make anything and make it worth it to take that deal, it wasn't like I could just slide it through and be in and out in a few hours. It was going to take me a lot of work. That's all I could work. But we have so many things that we could do as a company and as a team. You could carve out any one of those niches and focus on that. If you really
build a whole business model out of one product.
Well, you went from, we talked about it. It was the slogan coming in even before you guys got here, but you went from building a pipeline to building a business, right? I've been down there with you guys. I've mixed and mingled with some of your agents and some of your builder partners, and it's not only one subset in one town. You guys are, all over the state, into other states, dealing with, high-end areas, first-time home buyers, investors. And that's a testament to building a true business that could accommodate all of it while not interfering with your core business, which, was some of the builder business. And again, you talk about, doubling in size and quadrupling in production. We talk about this because, again, I'll keep pushing you until I can't push any further, which I haven't come to that point yet. But, the staff that you have can accommodate even more business. You're overstaffed because you're betting on yourself. You're not out there running scared saying, oh, rates are up, I got to cut 3 people, or, I got to make this really tough decision. You guys are constantly overstaffed because that you're going to win over market share and continue to grow, whether it's a 5% interest rate environment or a 2% interest rate environment. And again, that speaks to confidence in yourself and being able to bring the business in, because, I could have the best operations staff in the world, but without the loans, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, when we came back from visiting you guys in New Jersey, we were flying back on the plane. And we said, all right, we have 2 options. I mean, it's either cutting back or we're growing. So we need the staff if we want to grow and go to the next level. And our mindset is only in alignment with one path. It's all right, how do we go from 40 to 60? And what do we need for 60? The staff we have, the culture we have. So let's take it to the next level. There's really only one path to take. And that's how do we grow and how do we get bigger?
That's it, man. And I think that you guys help me push others, right? And Ralph, you could speak to it with the guys in Jersey. I know I deal with a lot of the guys in Florida and New York, but you've hosted calls yourself, Phil, to be able to impart your methods and mentalities. And again, you don't know everything. Your way might not be the only way or the best way, but you're willing to get out there and share what's made you successful. And there are guys out there and girls that, look toward that as a beacon of hope, as a motivation. And hopefully in some ways, whether it's Ralph and myself or others within the division, when those days when you feel like, shit, man, maybe I made the wrong choice, you could look toward some of us and be like, you know what, if that guy can do it, I can do it, type of thing. So it works all around.
Yeah, I would say that, a
Yeah,
lot
for
of
sure.
times too, it's easy to look at where you're at in the month or the quarter. But I would say if you plan on, unless it's your last month and you're leaving the business, you don't base a decision on 1 month or even a quarter. Unless you're leaving at the end of the quarter with a parachute, you don't base your decisions on the quarter or the month. This is the long game. This is when you get serious. And he knows from growing with me, we're big on mindset. Mindset. So it's a mindset. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been waiting for because it's a lot harder for everybody else, guaranteed, that don't have the team and the tools that we have. That's an advantage. 2.1% rates is not an advantage. It's not. One, it's temporary.
Right.
It's not a business model. It's not an advantage. And guess what? Amateur hour never ends.
And we
Amateur
saw
night is every night until that 2.1 goes away. Seriously. That's how I look at it.
No, and we saw it, and we see it happening.
Yeah, you're leading with value. You lead with value all around your business instead of leading with, being a discount mortgage guy. So which doesn't even help the customers. They just don't understand that part of it until they get to the point where they're not getting what they need.
I just sent out something to the team today. It was a competitor of ours that, we were dealing with a buyer on, and the buyer was upset and the agent was upset because they thought they qualified for a house and they went through the whole process. And then they find out that they're not even close to being qualified. That would never, ever happen in your branch because you guys do so much due diligence up front that the loan's almost cleared to close, by the time we're submitting it. You utilize our TBD methodology very well. And PJ, you may not know it because you didn't operate much in the other company, or Phil certainly knows it because he's been at multiple companies as well as Ralph and myself in the past, 15, 20 years. The ability to underwrite a loan before fully underwrite with a real DE underwriter, FHA, VA, high balance, jumbo, conventional, anything before they even have a property, before they have a contract, unheard of, and a tremendous tool in winning, outbids and agents for the buyers, for the agents, everyone involved. You guys utilize that better than most. So, maybe that could be one of the last things we touch on, but it's a very important one.
Yeah, like we were talking about, actually, this just came up today. It was a buyer agent that wants to recommend us, but the people were, set on who they wanted to use. And we're talking through it. And we both looked at each other and said, TBD approval. You just lost out on a bid. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again. And that's where, like, you know, a little bit of focus on what the people that are producing are doing. Because once you've had somebody say, oh, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that, and you try to, can we cut everything? And they don't even have that. It's not even real. Knowing what you have is huge. That's not, I'm like, we don't want to get into that kind of stuff because, like Ralph said, that's not value. That's just priced. And I don't even need to leave my house for that. I'll just post a rate every day. Don't even call me. Here's today's rate. And if we're lower, call me. And if we're not, don't. And why are they calling? Because it's not just that. Having some confidence in what they want to talk to you. But wait, can you? No, you can't get Bank of America on the phone. And your contract absolutely is not getting accepted with them as the lender. You can try. How about a TBD approval right now, ready to go?
And
you guys go. Go ahead, PJ.
I was going to say, and to touch on the TBD approval and also some other points brought up, I think any business, your local branches are going to be extension of corporate. So the beauty and pure confidence we have in Cardinal is Cardinal from a corporate level is pursuing endless growth, technology, updates, resources. How do we grow? How do we improve? How do we pick up market share? So to be able to feed off of that, feed off of the culture that, you know, you've created with a family environment where you're calling, you know, executives and higher management by the name uncle and aunt and really mean it and feel good about it, to then take that to the local market and hit the streets with knowing that that's what's behind you. It gives us the same mindset, unlimited growth. There's no limit behind us, so there's no limit in front of us.
And that's the constant push that we need in the motivation, because again, we need you guys out on the street. We need you bringing in that business so we can consistently grow. And that only happens with a good name, with execution on what we say we're going to execute on. And like we said, utilization of the tools. If you're not utilizing the tools, there's not much more I can help you with. And again, that's not always the mindset of everybody, but you guys, you know, more so than the rest, do a phenomenal job of utilizing all the tools and then going out there and marketing it. We haven't even touched on that. And, you know, I know I don't want to go too long here, but, you know, PJ, I see behind Phil, he like me has a whiteboard that he keeps track of his life with. I use Excel spreadsheets and notepads. There it is. But, you know, PJ has brought an entire different element of, you know, social media, marketing, organization at a scale level. All that stuff is tremendous in growing business. And I'm not saying the whiteboard is not important. There it is. Be like Ralph.
Sorry, Frankie.
That's it.
I said,
Can't make it up, Ralph. That was written before the call.
That's it.
I said, if Frankie spots that whiteboard, then I'm going to pull it up. I'm not going to pull it up if not.
Well, listen, how could you not? That's how we learned, man. That's how we all kept our pipelines for years.
This was just us saying, yo, you know what? Let's put 10 contacts. This was before Thanksgiving or Christmas, one of the holidays. Like, he's like, all right, instead of this is what I mean about action. Instead of talking about we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're like, let's set a goal between now and 4 or whatever day it was. We're going to fire out 10 contacts, blast, text, just anything to the top, the best 10 people you know, just to say, hey, have a good holiday or Thanksgiving or whatever it is, right? Then we did 10. He's like, did you get to 10? I'm like, bro, I'm on a 15. Then I was on 20. Then I was off the board. I was on 25. And then he's doing the same thing. So I would say to anyone else that's what I mean about action. So my job as the producing branch manager is to embrace and use the tools the best way I can. But PJ is a new guy, and like new younger guys and girls, he utilized the tools. Paulie told him, read the lending guide. He read the whole lending guide and made notes, the entire thing, like it was a college project. He embraced it out of the gate. Not because he's my son, not because he's been right next to me for 2 years. He did that in the first 2 months. That's a mindset.
Yeah.
That's just saying I'm jumping in and I'm tackling what I have and making the most of it. And that's what he did. So I was excited to see that. I didn't tell him to do that.
No, man. And that's the culture, you know, just that board behind you and the fun that we're having right now on the phone, you know. You have a very high pressure business. And we know that because you lived it in previous lifetimes. And even in the beginning of the transition here, it is a very high pressure business model when you have agents, buyers, and builders trying to hit deadlines. The fact that you're able to create a culture while dealing with that pressure means that you've built standard operating procedures, systems, and policies that are in place so that you relieve that pressure. You have a team around you and you have an outlet, and you're ahead of the game enough that you're not feeling that pressure and letting it negatively impact you. And that all goes towards scale, because 2 years ago, if I said to you, you know, you got to close 50, you're going to close 50 loans, you would be thinking like, how many hours do I have to work to close 50 loans? It's impossible. Now you're saying, you know, you're drawing freaking bubble letters on a board while you're closing 50 loans, anticipating closing the next 100. And that is, I think, a microcosm of what we all aspire to do in our everyday lives, whether it's, you know, me or a new guy or someone in New York or someone in Florida or South Carolina. That's where we all want to be with it. I think you guys have captured that and only continue to launch from it.
Absolutely.
Beautifully said.
And PJ, you know, Ralph and I talked about this, and I'll let him elaborate more, but we had a impromptu dinner. It wasn't like you know, all the top guys get together. It was an impromptu dinner, but it had, you know, quite a lot of producers at it. And PJ was there as a young gun. And, you know, nobody knew anybody at the dinner. It wasn't, you know, guys that have really met. They knew of each other. Some people worked at this company. Some people worked at other companies. But you not only fit right in, but shined in that crowd. And that is like a testament to, you know, yourself and your environment that Phil's created, because to be able to sit at a table like that and nobody realized that you've only been in the business 2 years, and you know, they thought that you were, you know, like, who is that guy? What's he do? Blah, blah, blah. That's the culture, man. That's what we live. That's what we breathe. And it's like, you know, Ralph and I talked about it immediately.
And more importantly, than even that, is that it was your idea to organize that dinner. So you felt comfortable enough with the culture we have here to go sit with other top producers here, and so you guys can pick each other's brains. And, you know, that people are like, hey, Ralph, great organizing the dinner. I was like, it wasn't me. I was like, I just facilitated it. Yeah. So
it was on his
I'm
Amex.
happy that we have that. yeah. And that, you know, you felt comfortable doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm extremely grateful for top-down leadership. I think we have a culture that any culture that invites and pushes for growth, the only thing you're thinking about is, how do I get better? What can I learn? What can I apply? How can I be more intentional with what's in front of me? So there's no time to really even think about any other emotions. I mean, I'm asking questions because I generally want to know, yo, man, how'd you fire out 7 ITPs yesterday? And that's the only question that matters, is how do you do it, and how can we do it, and how do we use that to get better?
100%, man. And we appreciate it every day. We know it's a hustle and grind. We get to have, you know, some fun, but we know that it's not always fun. We appreciate you guys, you know, being able to handle the growth and the staff, and to come to us, you know, be comfortable coming to us when you have a question or when you need help. So kudos to you guys on building a great thing. But I'm not going to stop pushing you. You're going to continue to have to go forward more and more before I get the job. So
just getting started.
Thanks, guys, for everything. Finish up the month, finish up the quarter strong.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, guys.
All right, fellas.
Appreciate it.
You guys.
Bye.